Yep.
Welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pony drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pon Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell. You are listening to episode number 318. I am joined by a great group of guys tonight. First and foremost, Cereal Box is here.
I haven't heard that intro in a while.
What? It was
Great
last
group
week.
Of guys. Great group of guys.
Oh, I know. It's because we've had a girl on forever.
You still did it even
You
when
still
she was
did it
on.
then.
Yeah, it's just because it becomes the intro. You get used to it.
Great group of gender-neutral characters.
Yep.
Punch and O's here.
Hey, everybody.
Chira Jaden is here.
What's up?
Hey, and our special guest this week is Skyen of Caster Comics fame.
Yeah, fame is putting it a little bit strongly, but hi anyway.
So, Skyen, thank you so much for coming on. You've
welcome.
You've been enjoying our pre-podcast banter.
Yeah, enjoying. That's yes, I have.
It's everything that you hope for and more. So,
Yeah.
Those uninitiated, our pre-podcast banter is everything that's wrong with League of Legends.
Yeah, it's basically just a lot of us shitting on each other and then laughing about it.
What's wrong with society? It's not just League of Legends. We're
Actually,
terrible people
it's
to each other
great
pre-podcast.
because we take the constructive joking criticism that is really just us hating each other, and we turn it into magic.
Magic happens
Yes.
on this show.
That-
Trinity Force magic.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's push forward with the Trinity Force magic, and let's talk to Skyen then, because he is the reason we brought him on to talk to us about League of Legends and what he does and all the good stuff. Before we get in there, so you guys know, he is part of our community building series that we are doing for the next 2 months, really. We're going to try to have somebody on from the community at least once a week for the next 2 months. We have a whole bunch of guests lined up. On Wednesday, we have Black and Nola comes on. Then we have Chris Alphanar from the Hearth of the Cards podcast. We then have Weldon Green. After that, we have a couple other guests that are to be determined that'll be coming in January, along with a Patreon guest and a couple other. Oh, the Lane will be on in the first week. The Lane podcast, they'll be on in the first week of January. So lots and lots of guests to come on, hopefully culminating into a very awesome podcast for you guys at the end of January. So, Skyen.
Yes.
There it is. I just wanted to make sure he's listening. Why don't you tell us again who you are, what you're known for, what you do? Give us a little bit of background before we jump in and start talking.
Sure. My name is TV Skyen. I do have a different name in Danish that none of you will be able to pronounce. So
Try me.
Stick to Skyen. Okay, Tor Emil Højris.
There it is.
I
There
can
it is.
spell that for sure.
Not gonna try.
Can you say that
Because
again?
the buttons that you need aren't on your keyboard.
Wait, can you say that again? Slow
Tor
it down.
Emil Højris.
Bless you. All right, continue.
Basically, yeah. And if people know me at all, they know me from the comics that I occasionally post on the internet that sometimes make it to the subreddit called Caster Comics, where I basically make fun of esports and teams and shoutcasters.
There you go.
That's pretty much. I'm an artist. I'm a cartoonist. Is what I do.
So that's a good way to put it, because I was hoping you would talk a little bit about some of the other artistic stuff you've done. I know you took Monte Cristo's songs and you've sang those and published those, and those have gotten pretty popular now. I mean, you've kind of branched out a little bit further than Caster Comics, but I guess it's not really your job.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know how to do that on a consistent level, but it's something that I do every once in a while when it's fun, when I have the opportunity. Disney music is generally, you can find backing tracks for that kind of easily, but I could never do something like what the Yordles or Instalock do. So it's just my dulcet tones and whatever music I can find on the internet.
So I want to talk about Caster Comics because, I mean, that's what everyone's going to know you about. Then I want to talk more about like your LCS beginner stream. I want to talk about being just a content creator and, what it's like out there in the League of Legends sphere. But first, let's talk about Caster Comics here. Can you tell us how that started and why you're doing it and continue to do it?
I'm doing it for the money, clearly, and for the groupies and the bitches, the sex, the parties. I mean, so much,
forgot
so many
drugs.
drugs, man.
Oh,
I
there you
mean,
go.
they just deliver it to your door. You
must
I
be
have
on
a
it
button, I
with that
call a
name.
guy, 12 pounds of cocaine on my doorstep when I want. No,
That's a lot of cocaine.
Is there like a nature box for
It's
drugs?
about
that you
it's
go
about
to?
an evening supply. It's decent. I do it because I draw comics about things. Is what I do. It's how I express if I have an idea or a thought or a thing I want to get into the world, and I do a comic about it and put a narrative to it. And I've done that for like 16 years. And then I ran into the LCS broadcast when it was first on in season 3. And I saw that, and that was just some interesting personalities: D-Man, Shocks, Kaplan, the old school shoutcasters. And I thought, there's a story there I could tell. Some fun. I had no aspirations with it whatsoever. I just made a dumb comic, put it online, called it Caster Comics with an X, because that's low effort, and sent it to, I think it was D-Man on Twitter, and he retweeted it. And it got retweeted a bunch of times. Then someone put it on the subreddit, and suddenly that thing has 50,000 views. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I could try for one more. And that's pretty much been the pattern ever since.
So are you? I've always wondered, how do you draw the inspiration for these comics? Because I've noticed they've evolved a lot. You went from, I mean, it was caster comics. It was all just about the casters for a really long time. But then you've evolved to be like, you've done it about the teams, and you just make the team's head their logo, and then you have the team do something.
They're all wearing hoodies.
And they're
Always hoodies.
It's the easiest thing close to draw besides T-shirts, and I don't want to do T-shirts because the skin is white on the characters. So if you have too much just blank white space for all the limbs, it gets confusing and difficult to draw. So it's easy to color code them that way. But yeah, I did branch out a bit because the first time I did those LCS recap little illustration comics things with the teams, they basically turned out to be the most popular thing. People love them the most. They discuss them the most. They're most interested in them. So they've sort of become what I do more than actually shoutcaster comics these days, which some people complain about. But I mean, it seems to be what my audience is interested in, so I'm kind of going with it. Plus, you can always do shit with that, because there's always some game where one team just butt fucks the other completely, and that gives me an opportunity to draw them doing silly fighting poses or sitting on each other's faces or, whatever.
So do you feel to keep caster comics going, you kind of have to pander to the audience?
No, not particularly. It's just I like making a large audience happy. Mostly, it's mostly when I see a lot of response to a thing, I want to do more of that thing because the response is fun, and I feel like I've made a lot of people's days a little bit better. So that's been why the teams have been the primary focus, because people engage with that more. I have a shit ton of comics always on the back burner, like this. I could do that. I have this idea, I have that idea, and it's basically just whatever I have time for and whatever is still relevant to draw things about.
From
Go
a
ahead, Punch.
fan's perspective, I just want to say I think the thing I most like about the caster comics with the teams elements is the element of truth behind it. The humor is there, and that's greatly appreciated, and that's what hooks you in. But I remember during the LCS season, I could go to a caster comic, look at all the teams fighting for playoff spots, and then from that picture determine, okay, this is who's in the race for the playoffs.
Right.
Just from the comic.
It's a
And
nice
it was-
snapshot of what's going on.
It's beautiful in that regard, and I think one of the later ones from Fnatic, basically getting shit on by the off season,
Yeah.
just
With his arm.
perfectly personifies what has happened, and I love that about that.
Yeah, it was really
Well,
fun
thank you.
It was really fun to cover. I was covering the LCS for a while, and I knew what had happened most of the weekends, and then in the same kind of perspective, could see your comics, and I'd get every single joke, and it was always really amusing to see it, put so bluntly, but also with like such a really, really good sense of humor. So it's kind of similar perspective to Punch, but I've been enjoying them for a while just because of that.
Yeah, like I said, it seems to engage the audience when I do those. So I'm very pleased that people like it so much. It's people tell me, which is weird to me sometimes. People tell me that I'm like a figure in the community or some sort of influential content creator, which is very weird to me because, from my perspective, I'm a dude in his bedroom who occasionally makes a little bit of ad money with his website. It's like I have no sense, particularly of any influence or position that I have in the community. I imagine something similar for you guys. Like, you have the biggest League of Legends podcast, but I mean, most of you probably aren't swimming in groupies.
No, none of us. They're
Speak for
literally
yourself.
zero.
It's funny though, because when we I had this probably multiple month span where I'd be playing with friends and somebody would recognize me, and it would make my friends think that I was way more well known than I actually am.
Yeah.
Because not at all, but those are little things. Like if people aren't used to that kind of thing, that's something they remember, when that's maybe like 1 out of every 50 games. And to me, it's nothing. But when other people say it, just from a small sample size of playing games with you, it's a little bit different.
Well, coming from our position here, it's and this is, I know this is the exact same for you, is that it's really hard to quantify your exposure to the people out there. It's really hard to tell, who knows you, who doesn't. Because, the audience is gigantic, right? And you're on the internet, so you don't have any there's no way to physically show that these people like you. Like, you got those, people go to the LCS, right? Like, everyone goes there to double if everyone wants their autographs and stuff. Well, there's no one knocking on our door to get our autographs and whatnot, because I'm just a dude in the middle of Kentucky. And,
right.
Who goes to Kentucky and no one, right? But everyone's in California. Everyone's at the LCS. So it's kind of harder for us internet, personalities, if that's what you want to call us, to understand the influence. But it's always great when you get those kind of when you get those little bit of people that, look for
a little bit of recognition.
Yes, look for your recognition or look for your opinion on things. And this is a good way to move into my next piece that I want to talk about. That's your beginner LCS stream.
Yeah.
You have, I think you more or less casually have done it. You've pretty much done it for Worlds, right?
I have done like a series of videos for the spring split last year. I did just to see if I could do it, if there was a way for me to figure it out. And then for Worlds, I've always felt like Riot kind of have lagged behind bringing new people in terms of, because for us it's so casual that League of Legends is, we know how it works from a visual shorthand,
right?
In the same way that most people know how football works. It's something that's just in the culture of where they are and where they live. But for esports, that's kind of not the case, because while some people might recognize RTS elements or RPG elements, looking at a game like League and understanding how it works just from watching like a professional game is damn near impossible. It's like, oh, that guy died. Is that good? Well, what's the monster? What does that do? It doesn't show. Whereas ball in goal, that's a pretty clear metric. So I feel like it was needed and no one was doing it. I'd seen people sort of try to do beginner-friendly content and introductions to League, but none that particularly focused on the esport. So it's just like, at that point, it was just like, I guess me then.
Yeah.
I have to do this thing if I want to see it happen. So yeah, I got in touch with Riot.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, we've had emails and stuff come in. They're like, why don't you go grab Skyen and put that stream on there? Or why don't you do one like what Skyen's doing? I'm like, I don't want to step on his toes. I'm not gonna go and take somebody else's idea just because they're doing it. Like, if anything, I'm gonna host their content. I'm gonna show, let them do it, because I think it's, we started the Four Awards podcast, but we started it with people who are already playing League of Legends, and there's no intro to League of Legends that, specifically tells you this is a champion. You have to right click to move them around, like that, that type of stuff. No one's doing that content because frankly, it's boring content to do.
How many of you have tried to explain a League of Legends match to one of your parents?
Oh, not parents. Friends, definitely, but parents,
And
no.
it could be anybody. Like anybody that's not at all in the gaming world. Try and explain that to somebody who has no idea what's going on.
No.
You'll start talking, and you're saying a bunch of things, and you immediately see them check out because they have no idea what 9 of the last 10 words that you said are. So then you have to backtrack and try and explain that.
Yeah, the word gank. Like,
yeah.
Anyone who's played World of Warcraft knows what it means, but that's at most, 13 million people or something. Most of whom you won't be meeting when you're introducing them to League of Legends as a new thing. Mm-hmm. It's like there are so many words and phrases and things that we take for granted that are so inside baseball to everybody else.
Right.
Which was the interesting challenge of trying to do the stream, because how the hell do you simplify everything that happens in a league? I still haven't figured it out, by the way. It's bloody hard, but yeah, that was the challenge. I guess that's why people don't do it. Other people, because the only place you can promote content like that in the League community is the subreddit, and everybody who's on the subreddit doesn't need the content you're promoting. So the stream never got a lot of views. But now it's out there and there's VODs. And for me, it's like I've made a resource for people if they want to show someone, this is what LCS is, this is how it works, this is a low-key introduction to it. You can go there. It's a thing that exists. But I never really anticipated views or any success, particularly with the thing.
You know, you were mentioning Riot before I interrupted you. You've contacted Riot about it. Have they sanctioned it? Is there any content back from them or contact?
For Worlds, they don't mind you doing stuff over their VODs. Like they don't bother controlling that. But with the live broadcast, they are very conscious about brand protection and not letting other people restream and getting confusion with the official stream. So I contacted the guy at Riot I know, who said, basically, no, we can't actually sanction that because we have brand deals and we have to protect IP and such. And then I did a couple of VODs instead. And a couple of days later, they get back to me and say, you can do it for Worlds. Only this one time, you can't do it for the LCS. We're going to let you do this, which were cool. I don't know what made them change their mind, particularly, but it was fun. It was a fun project. I got some other shoutcasters in on it who are much better than me at shoutcasting to sort of raise the level, and it was super fun. I'm definitely going to be doing more of it, but exactly when and how, I don't know.
Well, it makes sense that they finally saw what you were trying to do with it, and if it was appealing to them to try to get more people interested in League of Legends, why not? Why not at least get it a bit more out there than just something like a VOD? So if people were watching, like if you knew friends who were curious about it, you could point them to that stream while you're watching Worlds, and maybe take a look, get more information. Then they're suddenly on par with you and are now watching it too.
That's especially true for any sort of thing that somebody might be interested in watching, but there's a barrier in just the general knowledge that you need in order to understand something at a base level. And that doesn't just go for watching the League Pro scene. That's the same sort of barrier that's in the way for somebody who's never, ever, ever played a MOBA and then is like, hey, I'm going to try a game called League of Legends. They jump in and then they immediately get shit talked by people who know what's going on. And then you run into another issue there. So people not knowing what's going on could be a big deterrent, and anything that can help sort of ease somebody's transition into a game like this that's already extremely established is a really good thing.
I think something that would really help with one of these streams is, and here's some free advice that if you want to use in the future, because I was just thinking about this, is that when I watch Dota, because I don't know anything about Dota, I understand MOBAs, I don't understand Dota, and when people pick champions, I mean, I know you guys talk about the champions that are being picked and why they're being picked and what they do, but having some kind of physical model on the screen so that I can have a 360 view of the champion or whatever it is, or even an Ashe arrow so I can see what it looks like so that I have some kind of visual cue when it happens in the game, what would make more sense to me, because all I see is a portrait of Ashe, and you say, all right, Ashe is really awesome because she shoots an arrow, but I don't know what that arrow looks like. I don't know what I should be looking for. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things. We're talking exactly. That's larger production value, but those are something that helps bring you to the next step of validity.
Something you would need to work with Riot or whatever the gaming company is to actually put forward. But
yeah, I don't think I could do it in OBS anyway.
Yeah, not easy. Not unless you knew all the champions. Then you got to have all 100 and something champions ready to click and go and whatnot.
Yeah. It's something
like that might be. Sorry,
go ahead.
Sorry. Something like that might be necessary due to what Skyen was saying earlier about the complexity of the game. If Riot, or again any gaming company, wants to get new viewers to actually watch their esport, and not just players, because I mean, ultimately, I imagine they want to grow it beyond just their player base.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? The player base is big enough to sustain them, I suspect. But yeah, if they really want to commit to that advancing esport as a sport, as a thing that everybody can watch whether they play it or not, like regular sports, then yeah, I really do think they need to do. It's why I did the whole thing, was just I hope maybe someone would take notice and go, oh yeah, maybe that's a thing we should work on, because Riot does that sometimes. They just notice that seems like a cool thing, and all of a sudden they're investing $100,000 into making it happen. Not particularly to that. I thought I would get any of that money, but Riot really need to, because again, you can't really promote a stream like that anywhere except on the official broadcast where people tune in and see, oh, there's a resource for people like me who have no fucking idea what's going on. So yeah, that's I really hope Riot does something like that. They've sort of expressed interest in it occasionally, but I don't know if it's in the cards. And until it is, I'll keep doing my shit and hopefully, help someone get into
The only thing I could think of as far as promoting it goes would be on perhaps another gaming subreddit, because I remember during Worlds I would browse Reddit and then see posts from the gaming, I think that's what it was called, it was just the gaming subreddit talking about Worlds and people saying, this is the first time I've watched League of Legends. So Go ahead.
When Worlds and like the other side of the coin, the international came around last couple of years, I've always seen those posts that are taught in cross-platform or cross subreddit posts that'll be like on the league subreddit. You'll see, hey, the international's coming up. Here's what you need to know if you want to tune in and see another esport in a big deal kind of thing. And so you could possibly post over there Dota. Also, Summoner School would be a good place because those are people who are actually trying to learn and get a lot better, whereas the casters in the actual stream might not be as helpful towards a newer player. So at least hitting up the other esports groups that want to watch esports but don't have that entry barrier, they might be a good resource or a good pool of people to try to grab from.
Yeah, problem with that. I tried that actually. I tried Smite, Dota, and the Hero subreddit, and all three of them they got deleted, the threads, immediately because they weren't talking about the game in question. Right. And I contacted one of the mods who was sort of he was sort of on board with the idea, but he didn't get back to me until after the stream was over. And it's like you sort of can't plan for that. That's kind of the problem again with the Reddit content moderation thing, where they have these filters that they have to respect in order to maintain a subreddit. But it means it's impossible to do like cross-promotional things without some sort of concerted effort from the mods.
Well,
I wonder why they did those then, or how they got those like text posts through when it was talking about just the entry. I don't know how those got through, but those got tons. Those were like front page.
They probably messaged the mods well and ahead of time and said, "We're doing it this schedule. Can we do it this way?" And this is mod approved, and then they get stuff voted to the top, etc. I see some of those go through where it's technically breaking the rules, but the mods approved it for one reason or another. And I mean, esports, it's a collective thing. We're all in here. I don't see why Smite and Dota wouldn't allow you to push to the top, because I've seen people like, "Hey, I'm from the Dota community. Congratulations on this," and it makes it to the top of this, our League of Legends subreddit. But Skyan, when that happens again and you get a schedule around for it, let me know, because I'd like to host the channel and at least post the VODs up on the website.
Sure.
So that you can get a little more exposure from our side, because for being from our podcast, I know we have a lot of people who listen that don't necessarily play the game, or have never played the game. They just kind of listen to it because it's banter and fun. And I'm sure they might want to find that resource that we were talking about now. So, well, speaking of, why don't you plug it? Where would they find that when you decide to do it?
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is just Google LCS Beginners. That should get you the YouTube channel immediately. And otherwise, you can go to twitch.tv/LCSBeginners and subscribe to that. And that will go live whenever we do live streams again. Again, I'm not really sure what the format is going to be for the videos going forward, because the easiest way to do it is to cast it live. But if I do it as a VOD, then I can do a lot of editing where I put in graphics of like what items are being bought, what do they mean for the game, which is more work intensive. So again, it depends on what I have time for with my already rather packed schedule.
All right. So right now, you've talked previously. You might not. I don't think you mentioned it on the podcast, but you've previously talked about having a packed schedule, having, student loans, yada yada, whatever it may be. Do you have a job during the day outside of Caster Comics?
I'm a student still, and fortunately in Denmark we get paid a stipend by the government to study, which is basically equal to a bit less than minimum wage, and education is free because we are communists. So I'm pretty busy just doing that, because it's a pretty intensive schedule when you're doing university in Denmark. So that kind of packs it all up, and the money I get from Caster Comics helps a lot, just with my living costs, buying me food every once in a while, the occasional video game if I'm very lucky. So yeah, I do have a lot of shit to do and a lot of ideas and things I want to do that just I can't get to.
So are you able to play League of Legends at all?
Very rarely. It really bothers me. I have not played that much in this season at all, because it's just been, no, I need to get this comic done, and I've got homework, and then there's the thing, and the VOD, and the broadcast I want to watch.
Have the pro scene on in the background throughout everything that you're doing? That way you can keep up with things that are going on. And
sort of
get
more
ideas.
or less. I mean, I've been watching All Stars almost exclusively on VODs because it's on at 2 a.m. where I am.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it comes on at I felt like every time I watched it, it was like 7, 8, 9 o'clock on a Saturday or Sunday. I'm like, I'm not home for this. How the hell am I supposed to watch this?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. That's kind of that's a bit later than LCS normally is, but yeah, for the LA special kind of things. I mean, it was cool. I really enjoyed it. I wonder, are you going to put something out for that, like a fun comic? Because there's so many things you could possibly recap. The snowballs. The snowballs is the first thing that came to mind.
I
Obviously,
mean, I have a million ideas always. It's again, like I said, it's how my brain contextualizes shit. Is how could I turn this into a comic? How could I make this into a visual narrative or a joke somehow? So I've always got 100 million things in my head that I could act on. Only a few of which I do act on.
so you're gonna make this podcast into a comic.
Sure, let's say that.
So he's gonna draw about the bag of dicks and eating a plate of dicks, and then and it's
Yeah,
gonna,
that would
it's
be
gonna
your
go-
avatar, Adam.
Am I a dickhead? Just a giant dickhead. That'd be great. With the hair too. The hair has to be there, like the shape.
Yeah.
Of the hair.
Maybe if I get around to it, I definitely will.
He doesn't have time for it. He's too busy drawing circles of fanatic getting their arms ripped off
At
and
least
whatnot.
that is constructive compared to what you just asked him to do.
I mean, just make sure we have the appropriate number of groupies in the background of all of our panels, and it'll be
And 12
it'll
pounds
be
of
accurate.
cocaine.
It'll be accurate.
The panels will be
good.
packed with tits, I assure you.
Wonderful.
Man, the essence of the Trinity Force right there in one panel. 2 dickheads and some tits.
Dicks, tits, and drugs.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
Apparently.
By the way,
All right. Well, let's talk about your Patreon a little bit and you know how that's going and what you offer for those and hopefully where you see yourself moving forward here throughout the League of Legends community, because we as a Trinity Force Network is subscribed to your Patreon to try to help you a little bit, trying to give you a little bit back. I know, unfortunately, it's not very
thankful for
much,
that.
but you know, we figure we're out there supporting the community. So what do you offer? Where can they find you? You know, and why did you start Patreon, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, Patreon basically arose because I noticed that it was an option for funding where it's like you don't have to rely on ads, you don't have to ask for donations all the time. So that always appealed to me, but I was kind of unsure about it until occasionally I get a message from people where it's like, I kind of want to send you a donation because I know you've been having tough times recently. Where can I do that? And it's like, well, I do have a PayPal, but at that point I set it up just because go there, give me money if you so desire, and I don't have to, exhort people about it. And then sort of as I got more followers and the comics looked more and more like a thing I could actually sort of have a side gig doing, I decided to put a little bit more effort into it. And at this point, basically, if you support me on Patreon, that money goes towards commissions that you can order later on. So if you support me with $10 a month, you bank up $10, $10, you can get $60 worth of a commission after 6 months,
Wait,
where
I
I will
can?
draw you. Yeah, sure.
No,
I'm
Adam
worried
just
for
had an
that face
epiphany.
he just made there. I don't know what he's got planned.
Well, I know I'd asked you a while ago to make something for a convention we went to, and unfortunately, you were not able to get around to it in time. So, but I'm going to come back to you later, and I don't care about using the Patreon funds. I'm going to pay you what you're worth, because that's what we do as a business, and but I'm going to use you later, just FYI, to draw something for us, because when we go to PAX, I'd really like some of your art to be featured
afraid.
out there.
I'll try to be
he
ready.
got
for
that
it.
look. He's like, idea.
I get a lot of
Yeah.
ideas. If you listen to the Guido podcast and any other ones, I get a lot of ideas when we're talking to other content
And then he has
creators.
no problem just immediately telling them to you while we're recording, because that's the way to do things. It's
Why
great.
not? He has.
put
I
people
have
on
to
the
have an
spot.
answer. No, go ahead. Please continue with donating. I guess what do they get for the donation?
Yeah, I mean, you get credit basically towards commission. So if you got $1 a month, then give it 5 months, and I can draw you a little quick sketch of something, whatever you want to do. Plus, if you donate at higher tiers like $10 or $20, then you also get a discount on a commission each month. Where if you donate $25, I'll give you, I think it's a $10 discount on one commission. So like the more you donate, the more value you get out of it. That's the idea of the system anyway. I haven't done a lot to push it recently because, again, swamped schedule. I kind of don't want to encourage too many people to drop work on me, which is kind of the problem of trying to run this side by side with a 9-to-5 studying job. But yeah, I want to put more effort into it. Figure out some other ways to deliver stuff to people that they want, because a lot of my patrons have actually never cashed in on their commission. They've got honestly quite a lot of money in the bank sitting there right now that kind of makes me feel guilty for not giving back.
We know that as well.
Yeah.
We have replay reviews at $25 a month, and I think we had 13 of them last month. We've had one cash it in. Like, and I'm sending emails out like, guys, cash your stuff in, and I don't get emails back. And I feel guilty because they're paying me money. I'm not giving you your content back. But unless you ask for your money back, I'm not just going to, you know how it is. You're not just going to give people their money back for feeling guilty.
Yeah, it's a mental pressure that you kind of have to deal with as an independent. And it's the same thing with my commissions when people will email me about, could you do this thing for me? And I email them back with a price tag, and they say, okay, sure, that's fine. And I say, okay, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And then it's sort of in the back of my head for 3 months while I desperately try to get shit out of the way so I can sit down and draw stuff for people. And it's not easy for a content creator out there.
No, I think we were talking about it before. What was it? If every person that viewed your comic on our League of Legends, the 30,000 people gave you $1, you'd be set for a year.
Yeah, easy. But that's not how it works. It's the thing we also talked about was like a lot of people tend to assume that content creators who have visibility have money, which is not how it works. It's not how it works for you guys, and everybody who listens to the podcast knows that you've always got that server cost ticking in the background. It's certainly not the case for me, where I think for a content creator on the level I am, a decent amount of money through the Patreon and through the ad revenue, but that's still, compared to cost of living, especially in Denmark, it's nothing. And I know the same is true of other content creators. I've talked to them where it's like, yeah, we get hundreds of thousands of views on the YouTube channel, but YouTube views have never been worth less ever. So they're still just scraping by.
It ultimately continues to be a passion project.
Yeah, that's the thing. I used to want to study animation for a living, just because I love art and doing stuff like that. And I got to sort of an intro meeting at the animation school. It's a very high class one we've got in Denmark. And the first thing it told us is like, if you have any other options, if there's anything else you can do with your lives, get out of here. Go do that now. Wow. You are here only because this is the only thing you can do if you want to be happy, because the life of an animator is stressful, it's hard, you have to travel, you don't have residence, you can't maintain relationships with people because you're always going where the job is. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll be a teacher then. Because like it's something you do if it's the only goddamn thing you can do. And it's the same thing for content creation. Like there's no financial incentive. You work for 10 years and you get maybe 1/10 of the value of your work back. That's just how it is for most people.
I think you've hit the nail on the head with that one. And I mean, we've talked about that a number of times. I think we talked to Guido about it. He was probably one of the first people to bring it up. That he posted a funny Vine the other day. Let me count the YouTube money, and he puts the money through the counter, and it's like $6.
Yep.
Time to count my stick.
Pretty much, yeah. That is how it is, and it is a thing. I think that is the community's sense of, because you see people who are super successful, like PewDiePie, and you hear those stories all the time of the hugely successful new market YouTuber, tons of fat stacks rolling around in the cash. But that's like, who gets that kind of money? It's 1 or 2 people out of 1 million,
right,
who are doing shit. So it's like, if I can promote a message on this podcast right now, just soapbox it a little bit. Just if you have $1 and there's a content creator you like who has a Patreon or a donation box, just $1, 30 cents, anything, send it their way. Because if 10 people do that, all of a sudden they can afford a burger. And that's going to lighten up their lives significantly.
It's very easy to take for granted what content creators are giving you, and granted, I do this for practically for a living. This is a second job for me. So even though I understand what it's like, it's still, I'll look at something and take it for granted when I see it. Like, oh hi, I just used his web traffic. That was a funny comic, and then I'll close and I'll forget to donate. So that's why I set up the donation to you, because I read your stuff all the time, right? And I want to give back because I understand. But with that said, people don't realize, like with a podcast, for example, each podcast you download is 100 megabytes. After the 10 or 11,000 people or whatever it is to download our one podcast in 1 week, that's $10 out of that week, or $20 or something that we just had to spend to give you this podcast. And you take that for granted. Server costs $200 a month or whatever it is, and so that's got to come out of somebody's pocket. Now, this isn't me sitting here begging for money and stuff. I'm going to continue to put it out and pay for it and all that kind of stuff, but it's without seeing the numbers in front of you, it's very hard to appreciate what people are giving you.
Yeah, and that depresses me sometimes. For some content creators I see, where it's like, I have talked to people who are like, I do this thing and it's super popular, but I'm making no dollars and I need to take a second job or something. And it's just like, if I had the money, if I was rich, I would just throw cash at you people so you can keep doing the thing.
Right.
It's just, yeah.
Not to mention,
pity party. Wonderful pity party we're having here.
That's hard. People need to know, though. People need to be reminded of what content creators on the internet are going through.
Right. And if you like somebody's content and they had enough money to just do that full time, think about how much more they'd be putting out.
I would make so many comics.
Yeah,
that's all you would do.
I would daily. I think I could do it daily, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Just a comic every day. But if I did that now, if I just quit everything, one comic every day, put it out there, they wouldn't all make it to the top of the subreddit. They wouldn't all get that traffic, and the ad money would be like spike and nothing.
Right. You'd have to hit it in the nail on the head. Then you feel like you have to hit that same level of success with every comic in order to sustain your lifestyle.
Yeah.
No matter how meager that lifestyle may be.
Yeah, but even if it made it to the top of the subreddit, like I have a significant number of ads on the top and the bottom of my site, but that's still nothing. Like,
thanks,
if I get 1 million views, maybe that would pay for my rent. Maybe. I'm not so sure. But I don't. I get 50,000 maybe if it hits the front page, is what I can count on. And of that, most of that is ad blocked. So
right.
That doesn't help me. So yeah, that's another thing, by the way. Disable your goddamn ad blockers. Do it.
Yeah, if you like something.
It's a 30-second YouTube ad. I know it's annoying as fuck, but just disable it on the content creator channels that you like.
Most of that skip button now, thankfully.
Yeah, because even if it's only like 1/10 of a cent that you give, it matters in the long run.
Well, disable it on the channels that you like. I mean, Surrender at 20, I've disabled it for them. I've disabled it for your website. With the people that I go to and look at their stuff, I'll disable it to allow their ads to come through to try to help them because I like what they're doing. That we're not telling you to turn it off for CNN or whatever.
No, just fuck CNN. They've got the money. I mean,
yeah.
For the people that you like, easiest way to support them costs you no dollars. Just disable your ad block on that site. Again, I'm soapboxing, but it's important.
Oh, no, I want to let you soapbox. It's kind of why we got through everything. Because I also want to soapbox a little bit. We had previously... Well, let's move forward from the pity party soapbox and stuff. We've done that for 5 minutes. Let's go something a little bit more lighter. We're going to talk about colors and stuff, right? Because you had mentioned previously you wanted to talk about art in League of Legends. Now, I'm going to say that this is pretty much going to be you soapboxing and talking about art and the direction and stuff. I know you wanted to speak to that because we're not artists, none of us on here. But I'd still like to hear your thoughts on the way League of Legends goes because I see you post on Twitter. You'll be like, this person's proportions are off or these colors are off or whatever it may be, and that you notice these things when we look at them, we go, oh, this looks fine. I think Sivir's one where her hip looks like it's about to break from her body. Yeah,
I mean, Sivir is sort of okay because she's in an action pose, and with an action pose, you want to push that a bit out of proportion to really bring the action home. Manga do it all the time. Comics do it all the time. But then there's shit like something I did get pissed off about, and I'm sure people gave me a lot of shit for getting pissed off about it, was the Vayne splash art, the new one, where she's tumbling backwards and she's doing a very awkward pose that is... And I look at that as an artist, and yes, this artist wanted to show off her ass. Like, it's the only reason why she's in that pose is so her ass will be visible in the splash art. And that's fine if you're doing pinups or softcore pornography or something. But like for someone like Vayne, I felt like her character, that's not who she is. Like, she's not the supermodel. She's not Miss Fortune. She's not Elise. It's not the sexuality that makes her interesting. So that in a splash art, that sort of gets me to go, not good enough, Riot. What are you doing? And people do get, just, sort of, what are you, some kind of SJW kind of thing on you when you talk about that shit. But for me, that's how I engage with a lot of what Riot puts out. Is the art that they choose to put on it, and how that shows the character, how that tells the character's story. And that's why I love Ilawe, by the way. Her splash art is so good. Her character design as well. It's just because it shows you exactly who she is in that picture. This is a lady who will kick your ass and shove a tentacle down your throat and rip you to shreds from the inside if you don't meet her standards. And that shows perfectly in her splash art because this perspective is from below, which means you're in the subordinate position to the character, and she's looking down on you. She's got raised in a power pose. So good. And then, you got shit like the vein splash, which is basically, we want to put a butt in here. Yes, butts are good. I don't disagree, but vein, come on. Anyway. Anything else you particularly wanted me to say?
Oh, no.
He also has the
Go
crazy
off on-
ass eyes that freak me out. As you're talking about these, of course, I had to come look them up, and I was just reminded by Alawi's eyes immediately. She's got that
she's not
stare like,
inviting.
I'm
She's-
fucking crazy.
She's scary, which is good, which is what she's supposed to be. I love that. That's something Riot has gotten better and better and better at, by the way. Creating splash arts where you look at the splash art and you know what is this character. You look at Nasus and you realize, okay, ancient Egyptian god kind of guy, magic slinger, hits you in the face with a staff, easy to see. Whereas in the old splash art, it was kind of Scooby-Doo in a Halloween outfit.
The banana suit.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't they kind of update him? Like I remember I think it was the Chinese splash arts for a while were a little bit. I thought they were thought to be superior. Like that, we're talking like season 1, 2, 3 when they were still.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at them, they look super derpy in comparison. It looks way more cartoony. But then the Chinese ones were like way more elegant. Really, it looked incredible in comparison. It looks like that's the direction they've been going now, which is way more serious and I don't know, well drawn. So I don't know if that's if you like those two.
The season 1, the earliest splash arts and they were basically just the character models rendered with a bit of lighting effects in the background, and they very much showed the background of League of Legends as a mod coming out of Warcraft 3. It's that aesthetic very much carried over to League of Legends with the very overwrought proportions, bulky and moving like this, so that low levels of polygons could show up clearly on low resolution monitors compared to what we have today. And as technology has moved ahead and Riot has been able to create more complex rigs and show them clearly on the field, this is also Summoner's Rift update is really important in that because it allows Riot, the change in colors, the change in how they show the Rift has allowed them to do a lot more in terms of what can we really do with a character model where it doesn't just vanish into the background of this highly saturated, bright, cartoony Summoner's Rift that we have. So it's very much, when you look at the art of League of Legends, that's something I kind of love about it, is you presented with a history of gaming for like the last 6 or 7 years in terms of where its aesthetic has been at, because League of Legends has very much followed that trend upwards and onwards. And as you say, it's moving very much towards the more serious, more badass kind of view instead of the silly cartooniness of earlier days.
I was
It
about
really
to
is
say,
fascinating how it's evolved when you think about it. I remember when I started playing League of Legends, I was almost immediately put off by it because of the artwork. I came from Dota and Heroes of Newerth, which is a very visually appealing game, but it was basically just a carbon copy of Dota. Mm-hmm. And it was the gameplay of LoL that kept me coming back, and the grind fest, because I was playing WoW at the time and I love grinding stuff. But when you look at the game now, yeah, it's there is really no comparison. It's almost completely different, and it's very visually appealing. And I frankly I love what they've done with it. I'm glad that they've taken the time to evolve it, because that's not easy to do. I mean, it's easy to just put out new changes, new heroes, new items, leave new heroes as they are. But I mean, they're actively trying to update the old stuff, the old champion pyramid feet that have been around forever. Tarek still has them.
Yeah.
They will never go away.
Pizza feet, yeah. Again, and actually, it's actually had a significant impact on gameplay as well. If you look at Poppy's rework, for instance, you literally couldn't do her ultimate, the new ultimate, with her old model. Like, even if they had her raise the hammer around and swing it, the proportions and the way it's animated and the rig, which is the skeleton inside the 3D model, can't do those things. So it's also, as the visual progression of League of Legends also lets the game designers do a lot more interesting things with the character models, just in terms of how they can move and how they can act. Echo, again, you couldn't have that animation, you couldn't have those movements and that dash animation and stuff from the old character models way back in season 1.
There's a lot of
and again, I'm
skins the same
fascinated
way,
by
too.
all this stuff.
I was gonna say, what I've noticed coming from start of season 2 playing this game is a lot of those skins too. We see a lot more intricate skins, a lot more intricate particles and whatnot that have come into the game, or they've been going back and changing old skins. Like all the new Poppy skins look freaking fantastic compared to to the old ones. And like you said, the rework allows them time to go back on that. Now, I don't expect you to be able to answer this question, but maybe you can give me an insight into it being an artist. It's that I see a lot of times, let's say a new skin comes out for a champion, it hits the PvE, people play it, but then there's colors that are off or colors that don't blend well or whatnot, and people go on the subreddit and say, hey, she really should have yellow eyes and not red eyes. Is that, do you, coming from an artist perspective, do they have like a different, because it's not on the Rift, they can't see how that champion looks coming from like a model viewer? Do you see kind of my question where I'm going with this? How do those make it there and not look, pristine and crisp? How does those yellow eyes that wouldn't actually match that character make it to that character model on the PvE before, it hits?
Yeah, I mean, what I know of the Riot champion creation process is when a champion or skin or anything hits the PvE, it's because the kit is ready and it's ready to be tested and that's ready. Whereas the art is something that they polish up until the very last second. And with the changes that are usually made on the PvE, you say color correction, for instance, that's often a case of the Riot people have their monitors and they have their, visuals and their ways of looking at the game that don't necessarily match up with 160 million other monitors across the world with different color profiles and different renderings and different resolutions. So there's often a case where a designer or an artist has this huge, perfect, giant resolution monitor with beautiful colors and just gorgeousness shining through, and they'll make the colors a little bit more muted than they perhaps need to be, or a little too bright in terms of what they need to be, because that looks good on their monitor. And that's why they have to put it out in testing is, 10,000 other people take screenshots and this kind of looks terrible on their monitors as well. So that's probably part of the reason why that happens. Plus, again, it's PvE, so I don't think they're particularly concerned about finishing the art as much as they are the kit.
And you get a bunch of extra eyes on it, people are going to notice stuff like that. And even if the artist didn't know that ahead of time, despite having toned down something or changed something, a bunch of people will provide feedback, even though it's something that you think of PB, you think of the bugs more than you think of something like eye color being weird. But if somebody knows it, they might say, hey, that looks weird. They'll say,
when they put out the SKT Syra, she had this white line down her chest and around her hips, going like past the legs. She had these white lines that coalesced as well. And that looked fine from above. I took a look at the model viewer, and unfortunately, it looked like she had a giant arrow pointing at her crotch. And I pointed that out to one of the character designers, and they went like, let me take a look at that. And then the next day they had removed the white line, because that's the kind of thing, like you say, put it out there. You've stared yourself blind at it because you know exactly what it's supposed to look out like. Put it out there, and all of a sudden 10,000 people go, do they know that that's happening?
Yeah, I think a lot of us are still looking at like the season 1 splash arts right now, because it's really hilarious to go back and look at these, because it's literally every character staring straight forward, face forward, with a background that doesn't tell you anything about them, and just a bit of a color difference. It's absolutely ridiculous compared to now.
I like some of those colored recolored skins like Frosted Ezreal, but now that would be a chroma rather than a skin, more than likely.
Basically.
But some of those skins actually look really nice, and I'm glad that they are doing at least they tested the recoloring. We haven't had any new chromas recently, have we?
No, I think they're doing other there was a survey posted on the subreddit not long ago where it's like they're apparently looking into chroma skins, but instead it's a color setting where you can set the colors that you want yourself customizably. Something they're looking into. I don't know if they'll do it, because I agree with the Riot designers that the chroma packs, you have to be careful about what colors you put where on a champion, because sometimes you can just make it look absolutely horrendous or confusing in terms of particles.
Okay, one last, or it may not be the last thing about color, but another question about that. Do you keep color blindness in mind when you're creating any of your art or any of your comics or anything?
I don't. I kind of should, though. But it's very difficult with color blindness when you do art, because with the League of Legends, they just have a setting that turns this color into that color or this color into that color, depending on the setting of the person who's watching, what type of color blindness they have. I kind of can't do that with art, but something I try to keep in mind is what's called values, which is the relative difference in brightness between different areas of color. Like if you have a red square and a green square with the equal value next to each other, if you put that in grayscale, they'll be the same gray. But if they have different values in terms of their brightness, then they will be distinguishable. So that's something I kind of try to keep in mind, that in terms of just how much light this thing gives off, how much shadow is on it, so long as you have distinction between that, people can always distinguish what's going on, no matter how colorblind they are.
I would love to get inside an artist's mind for one day and just see the world how you see it. Because I remember a while ago I posted a picture of beer. I was making beer, and you're like, oh my God, those colors are amazing. I didn't even notice the colors, like the different gradient of the colors. And I'm like, I don't know how you noticed that first, but I would love to sit inside your, someone's mind one day, just be able to see that. Because my girlfriend, for example, she's an artist, and she does portraits really well. And I've to watch, I watch you guys take a circle and then draw another circle, and then suddenly it's a face. And that it doesn't. I can't register. I don't know how you guys do it, and it always
Like the Bob Ross stream. You stop looking for a second, you come back, and you got trees.
And all of a
mountains.
sudden,
like, where
it's
did
a
it all come
landscape.
from?
Yeah.
It is. I mean, people ask me sometimes about, like, how did you get good at art? And this is exactly the same thing as legal. You practice. You sit down. You put your ass in the seat. You realize you're gonna suck, and then you just get through it until you stop sucking for a bit. It's really that, and that's something a lot of artists I talk to get annoyed with when people call them talented, because it's a compliment technically, but to us it's also like, oh, we were born good. No, we weren't. I was shit at drawing 10 years ago. I was absolute fucking trash. Anime bullshit trash that no one would give the time of day, justifiably so, because it was shit, but I practiced. And that's something that, unfortunately, because we worship artists as geniuses, kind of, it's a sort of Renaissance mentality of the artist as inspired by God to create this beautiful, special, magical thing that only the genius can create. And artists get devalued a little bit by it. It's actually part of the reason why artists can have a lot of trouble having people respect their copyright and source things to them, because they think that the artist is just happy that people are looking at their stuff. Because that's sort of, you're supposed to be in it for the passion, and you just want to bring something great to the world, but it's a craft. It's like building a table or, washing floors. It's a skill you have that you develop. And that kind of I feel like it has too little value in society sometimes with the ways people look at art. It's very disposable a lot of the time. That was off topic, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
was
I told
great.
you, it's your soapbox, and this is actually really interesting to...
It's an intriguing point, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you find yourself, after you've made a comic, do you nitpick it a lot? Are you nitpicking as you're making it?
Oh God, yes, I do. There are a lot of comics where I start out super excited because this idea is funny. This is funny as fuck. This is great. This is gonna get to the subreddit front page, and Riot are gonna tweet about it, and everybody's gonna love me, and I'm gonna have 10 million Twitter followers. 2 hours later, I'm looking at this thing as why this is not a good idea. Who thinks this is great?
I will
Why is
never
this funny?
post this.
That joke doesn't work. What was I think? This has to be rewritten from the ground up, and I will never show it to anyone. I'm going to throw it in the trash and burn the trash and move to a new country, change my name, and then maybe we can try again. Because you sit there and you stare at the thing, and you stare at the thing, and you stare at the thing, and all you see, because you're an artist with a critical eye, is your mistakes. Everything you've done wrong, everything that could be better. And the joke dies in your face because you read it 10,000 times and you've rewritten it 50 times. It just dies and it's dead, and all you see is the corpse of something beautiful that could have been. And then you have to put it on the internet and let people see it. And that kind of sucks. I hate doing that. When I put a comic on the internet, I usually just fuck off for 20 minutes. Does anyone retweet it? Do I still have followers? Am I okay?
I love this because we do the same thing. Like some of our shows where we thought were absolute just shitstorm of shows have gotten the most views and the most listener feedback. Like the most infamous one is our Renekton Cho'Gath argument. I'm sure you've heard about. Like we argue for 20 minutes about that, and people fucking ate it up. And I'm walking away from that show going, God, that show was fucking terrible.
We still get comments every once in a while that's like, yeah, they'll talk about Renekton and Cho'Gath again, or did we ever figure out which one wins in what situation? It's like, okay, it was like a year and a half ago at this point.
But I love it that I know I'm not the only one to do it, but it's really fun to hear it coming from other pieces of art, or other artists, I should say, from other artists that
other forms of media.
Yeah, we all nitpick everything that we're doing, and the best way to put it is when you said you just stare at it for 3 hours, and suddenly this is the worst piece of shit you've ever developed in your entire life.
Yeah, because you're always going to be inside it. Like I think there was a critic who put it in a way that when you become an artist, you develop a great taste for art, and you are always aware of the gulf between the art that you can do and the art that you love. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why you get so incredibly critical, is because you have great taste, so you only look at the best shit. And that is just so much better than what you could possibly hope to make with your limited experience. And then you get down on yourself because it's like, who looks at this? Who cares about that? And there's a picture that goes around on Tumblr every once in a while where it's just a very short comic where two people are putting cakes on the table. One cake is this huge, elaborate, beautiful bundt cake with multiple layers, and the other is just a nice little cake that sits there, and the person with the smaller cake goes, "Oh God, my cake is terrible. That cake is so much better. No one's going to give a shit about my cake." The next panel is someone coming along with a knife and fork going, "Holy shit, 2 cakes!" And that's what it is. That's the thing you have to remind yourself. It's that from their perspective, it's just more content. It's more stuff they can consume, which is better than what they themselves can make. Got very quiet all of a sudden.
That's because Mitch is sending me
deep.
messages, and I was reading it, and I was hoping somebody else would move the conversation along while I read what Mitch was typing to me. Mitch, why don't you just take it from there?
Sweet nothings. No, I was actually kind of curious. Like we've obviously talked about the art stuff, the LCS beginner stream. I didn't know if there's anything new we could be looking forward to, or ideas you have for stuff you want to do that's outside of those realms that we could be on the lookout for in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do more song parodies, and kind of, because I love doing music. I do that a lot. I just haven't been able to particularly put a lot of effort into it in terms of videos and stuff. So that's something I want to do, but again, with the caveat that I don't know if I'm ever gonna do it. With the things I've already got going on. I also want to do videos on art criticism, where I, for instance, would take some of the splash arts from League of Legends and some of the character models and art and stuff, just deconstruct it, just break it down. Why does this work? Why does this look the way it does? What was the artist probably thinking when they did it? What's the thought process behind this? What are you supposed to feel or feel like when you see this?
I love that series, because you just mentioned Alawi and how she has, she's standing above you. That's how the aspect is. Like, I don't notice that, but now I notice it that you've mentioned it. Like, I realize, okay, that's why that piece is so powerful, because that is, I'm subconsciously seeing that information and processing it, but I don't know actively know I'm doing it. So I'd love to see that type of content come out of you in the future. I think that'd be really informative and a lot of fun for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially with a good sense of humor. With a good sense of humor too. Like, that's like, some people who might not be that interested in art in general might be able to find the humorous aspect of it plus the informative side. Like, if you get both those things like we try to do, I think it really brings in a lot more people than if it's just cut and dry, serious, like monotone. But I think you do a very, really good job at that.
Thank you. Well, I mean, it's something I'm gonna do if I find the time. That's the caveat with everything I want to do, is if I find the time.
Yeah, then there's definitely not enough time in the day. I've bitched about that. I've bitched about that 100 times. I just somebody come find me and give me money so I can just do what I want to do. That's like what we're all screaming as content producers. But until that day happens, if it ever happens, we'll continue to push it forward as a passion project. Skyan, as we end and roll out the end of this podcast now, because we stick about a strict hour time limit, I want to give you the floor yet again, as you've swept the rug under from our feet for this entire show. If there's any last words you have to say, anything that you want to talk about. If not, you can go ahead and plug all your stuff and tell people where to find you. I mean, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, I mean, follow me on Twitter, which is TBSKYEN. You can see it on the screen right now. Go to Caster Comics every once. Just go to, if you really want to help a content creator out, go to their site every day and just load it up and let the ads load onto your screen. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to bother with it. It doesn't have to take up time in your day. Just, that's a thing you can do that puts their view count 1 up. And it sort of helps if a lot of people sort of get into that habit of just go there, go there, go there, go there. I've done my job. And support your content creators. Support Trinity Force Podcast and the T-Force Network. Support them with a donation so they can keep doing podcasts like this with idiots like me and cover their server costs and talk shit about each other behind the scenes.
Behind
Help
closed
people out,
microphones.
because Yeah, the content creators never have as much money or as much fame or as much influence or as much time as you imagine they do, ever. So if you can spare $1 for someone's Patreon or send them a donation or a nice tweet, anything you can do helps. And if you don't, then you don't get to complain when the subreddit is full of shit posts instead of content, because we need help to make this shit happen.
Yeah, you know what? Some of the best things that you could ever give us as a network is just an email that says you guys do a great job. Like that is as much fuel as $1 a month.
Or questions, because that also helps us continue to bring you guys.
Oh yeah,
content.
questions are great. That's free content for us. Thanks, Riot, for fortnightly patches, but that's not enough to cover 4 podcasts every 2 weeks.
Yeah, ask them questions about dicks and who's the bigger dick. They can talk for 5 hours on that alone.
We will have a measuring contest, I'm sure.
No, we won't, because I don't want to put you guys to shame.
Why did I know you were going to say something like that?
All right, Skyen, thank you so much for coming on our podcast, guys. Please go and support Skyen. Go toss him $1 or $2 on his Patreon. Follow him on Twitter. I know you tweet a lot about
He tweets
from
all the
everything,
time, and
from
it's
politics to League of Legends to social issues to whatever. I mean, it's just fun following you because it's never like mean and rude and crude. It's just funny and rather uplifting because you're screaming all the time about stuff, and it's great.
That's great.
It's not like me where I'm bitching about my teammates and telling people, I can't tell you to teleport, you asshole.
Or humble bragging or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Pictures of beer.
Yeah, making announcements
Oh,
that you want to make about announcements.
Those are my
in the
favorite
future,
thing to
maybe.
because people get pissed off at me, and I'm just at this point. I'm like, they're pissed, so they'll tweet at me. And that means my Google ranking goes up because people are tweeting at me.
Can you make like a schedule of your announcements, like how many you've got coming up?
Yeah, sure. I've got
When will you announce your schedule?
hopefully Wednesday,
Right now.
if not Monday. I have to confirm a couple things. But announcement of announcements. I've already pretty much told everybody what it is. It's just you got to put 2 and 2 and 3 together. Also, guys, something for the Trinity Force Network here. Please don't forget to go check out teespring.com/KingDC. There are, I think, 9 days left, 9 or 10 days left. Go support our MS charity. Oh, as well, Optimus Tom. You know Optimus Tom. He is streaming 24 hours starting on Saturday at noon. That is the 19th, December 19th. He's streaming for 24 hours, Poppy only. And every donation that comes in during that time goes to MS Research. Every single donation. Donate during that day. So if you don't want to buy a t-shirt and you want to see him do stupid shit or whatever it is, donate. That'll go to the MS Research because we're doing a big charity stream. He will also accept questions during that time. Like if you want to donate $1 for MS Research, then ask a stupid question about whatever. He'll do pretty much anything for donations or no donations. Just come in and have fun. So that's the 19th. Skyen, go ahead.
It's also 7 days on the Teespring stuff. So
there you go,
get
7.
your shirt.
Run
Yes, get your shirt. DeClaude is an asshole who do terrible puns all the time, and I hate him. And support MS Research by buying a T-shirt with his name on it. Do it.
It's great.
I command you, if I have any power in this world, spend some money on that.
All right, Skyen, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
It's been
was
a
my
pleasure,
pleasure.
sir.
All right, guys, that was episode number 318. We will see you on Wednesday for 319 with Black and Ola, guys. Peace.
See you
Love
guys.
you.